Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? 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 Yeah, let's get it going. Let's get it going. Let me allow everybody to catch up to this live real quick. This is totally unplanned. I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and talk about this Bucks versus Celtics game one. So let's allow everybody to catch up to this live. Was good, Jay Goose. Make sure you check in. Let us know where you're coming in from. Let's wait about, let's say about a minute or two. Allow everybody to catch up. Akeem was good. McNair King was good. That man assisted himself. Yes. Connecticut was good. How you doing, man? Hey, we're doing good. We're doing pretty good. Make sure you guys hit the like button on your way in so more people get notified, because we're definitely going to have a lot of fun with this live here. I cannot wait to get into this live here. So let's give it about another minute or so. Love from Malaysia. Appreciate that. Really appreciate that. Make sure you guys check on in. Giannis. Okay, make sure you check in. Love from Indonesia. Let's go. Let's give it about another 50 seconds or so. Houston was good. We're going to have a lot of fun with this live. While you guys are coming in, let me just make sure that I post. For those of you who are not following us on Instagram, make sure you guys go ahead and follow us on Instagram right now. We're going to pin that to the top. Let me post that right here so you guys can follow us on Instagram. So make sure you guys go ahead and do that. I'm just going to pin that comment to the top there. Let me pin that. And also, if you want to follow on Twitter, because I'm actually starting to get active on Twitter right now. So if you guys want to interact with me on Twitter, I'm going to post that right here. You guys can definitely follow us on Twitter as well. So let's give it about another 5 to 10 seconds and let's get it going. I'm going to have a lot of fun with this one. So give it another 5 or 10 seconds. Make sure you hit the like button, guys, and let's get into it. Okay. So let's get into this right here. As people are coming in, everybody will catch up to this live. Let me go ahead and get started. So let me get into this live right here. I got a lot that I want to talk about. For those of you that follow me on Twitter, I actually watched about the majority of the first quarter of this game, but I actually had to step out. So I didn't actually have a chance to watch all of the game. But when I was following the game on my phone, and I was actually seeing that the Bucks were pretty much leading the way, leading their entire game. So when I got back home, I was actually able to watch the full highlights, because I wanted to see how the Bucks were actually winning that game. Because when I was checking it on my phone, I saw that Giannis wasn't having such a great game from the floor in terms of his shooting percentage. So I was like, how are the Bucks actually winning this game? So when I came back, I watched the stats and I said to myself, okay, let me do a live. So let me get into it. Going into this series, I think the number one most interesting storyline going into this series was, how was Giannis going to do against the number one ranked defense in the NBA? That was the number one question going into this Boston Celtics versus Milwaukee Bucks series. Why? Why was that the question? Because for some reason or another, people like Skip Bayless have made it their business to try to withhold the best player in the world status from Giannis. I have never seen so many people come up with so many reasons as to why Giannis does not deserve to be the best player in the world. Welcome in from greetings from where? From Greece. Welcome in. Thank you guys for being a part of this live. Also, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button. You don't want to miss this live, because I got a lot that I want to talk about. So, for whatever reason, people were withholding from Giannis. And the number one argument that I heard people use time and time again was, the reason Giannis cannot be considered the best player in the world is because, well, there are other players out there that are more skilled than him. Giannis is just not that skilled. That was the argument. No one was talking about how dominant of a basketball player he is. They were sitting up there talking about he was not skilled, but compared to who? He's not skilled in terms of who? I think whenever people said Giannis wasn't skilled enough, they were comparing him to maybe the Kevin Durant's of the world. That was the first argument. The second argument was, oh, he's not a closer. How can the guy that doesn't close out games for his team possibly be the best player in the world? How can you say that this guy's the best? Even though when Shaquille O'Neal was going back to back to back, he was not the closer for the Lakers. It was actually Kobe Bryant, and with the help of Derek Fisher and Robert Horry and these guys, Rick Fox and these guys. But Shaq was clearly the best player in the world. But for Shaq, it was okay. But when we're dealing with Giannis, we have to come up with all of these different reasons as to why. So these are the first two. These are the two major arguments that they use against Giannis, forgetting the fact that Giannis Antetokounmpo is clearly the most dominant basketball player in the world today. It's clear as day. The only people that seem to not grasp this concept are people that are doing, for whatever reason, trying to withhold the greatest player in the world status from Giannis. I don't get it. I don't get it. But I'm building something and I'm trying to go somewhere. I'm trying to paint a picture for you guys, so just bear with me. I'm getting somewhere and I'm getting to this game. So they try to withhold that from him. They said, oh, he can't be the best player in the world. Now, whenever people said Giannis wasn't the best player in the world, usually the person that they said is actually more deserving of that status was Kevin Durant. The people that usually say Giannis is not the best, usually the person that they say is the best is KD. They say, no. Kevin Durant is the best player in the world, not Giannis Antetokounmpo. So we understood that. But just 2 weeks ago, roughly 2 weeks ago, Kevin Durant, the quote-unquote best player in the world, had a chance to go against the number one ranked defense. Number one ranked defense in the NBA. Going into that series, we were told by other voices in the media and some fans that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, that tandem, that duo, were the most skilled duo in the history of the NBA. Basically, what people were saying was Kevin Durant, the combination of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving was the most skilled combination of players to ever play basketball. That's what they said. So going into that series, this was the expectation. We were about to see the two most skilled basketball players play against that defense, and what happened? Kevin Durant totally got exposed by this same Boston Celtics defense. He was there's no other way to. They put Kevin Durant, this Boston Celtics team, put Kevin Durant in a stray jacket. It got so bad that at one point people were beginning to wonder, is Kevin Durant crumbling before our eyes? What are we with? It was so bad that people actually couldn't make sense of it. Let me give you guys Kevin Durant's numbers in the 4 games that they played against the Boston Celtics. Again, thank you guys for being a part of this live. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram. We pinned that to the top. And for those of you guys that are in the live right now that want to follow us on Twitter, follow me on Twitter so we can talk about basketball. I just posted a Twitter there, so make sure you guys check that out. Also, make sure you guys go ahead and hit the like button, guys, so we get more notifications out. Appreciate it, and thank you guys for being a part of this live. I got a lot more that I want to say, so let me just go ahead and continue here. So let me get into Kevin Durant's stat. I'm getting to this game, but I'm trying to paint a picture. KD's stats against the Boston Celtics in 4 games. Let me give you his stats. He averaged 26.3 points per game. He got 0.3 blocks, 1 steal per game. He assisted 6.3 times per game. He rebounded the ball 5.8 times. He shot from the free throw line, he shot 89%. Kevin Durant, the most efficient perimeter play in basketball, shot 33% from the three-point line. If you juxtapose those numbers to what he averaged in the playoffs last year, KD shot 40% from the three-point line in 12 games. 40%. In this Boston Celtics series, Kevin Durant shot 38.6%. Last year in the playoffs, he shot 51.4%. So basically, this Boston Celtics team totally neutralized Kevin Durant. He was neutralized by those guys. And he totally got exposed for not being the best. Kevin Durant is an amazing player, but I don't believe he's better than Giannis. So going into this game, people like Skip Bayless said, Skip, who was saying that Kevin Durant is the best player in the world. Think about this. Skip admitted that KD is not the best, but was still reluctant to give Giannis Antetokounmpo the nod. He's like, wait a minute. KD's not the best. So now let's see what Giannis can do. And what happened? What happened? Going into that game, no. Not only did KD end up they ended up getting swept in 4 games. So going into this game, the Bucks, this series, were going to be without Chris Middleton. And Chris Middleton is clearly the Bucks' second best player. I was watching NBA on TNT, and they were asking them, Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, Shaquille O'Neal, to make their picks. And I remember Shaq saying, he said originally he was going to pick the Milwaukee Bucks to win this series. But because Chris Middleton wasn't going to be available for this series, according to reports, Shaq said that he wasn't sure that the Milwaukee Bucks were going to be able to overcome that loss. Therefore, I think he ended up picking the Boston Celtics. Most people felt as if going into game 1, the Boston Celtics had an edge. Why? Number 1, they're going to be playing at home. That's number 1. Number 2, the Milwaukee Bucks were going to be without Chris Middleton. And Chris Middleton is very, very important. Crazy thing is Giannis had a subpar game. Exactly. I'm going to get to that. Thank you so much for that comment. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to get to that. So they were going to be without him, a major piece of their championship formula. So it had to be basically, in order for the Bucks to win the game, it had to be Giannis and his role players. The role players needed to step up, and that is exactly what happened. Let's look at the stats from the game. And this is the fundamental difference. I kept telling people about Giannis and Kevin Durant. People were only looking at Kevin Durant from one side of the ball, which was his offense. It is beautiful to watch, but Giannis does so many more things on the floor than Kevin Durant, and I'm going to show it to you right now. Let me give you KD's numbers once more in round 1 against this same Boston Celtics team. In round 1, KD averaged 26 points per game, 0.3 blocks, 1 steal, 6.3 assists, and 5.8 rebounds. Those are KD's numbers. Let's look at Giannis in game 1 of this series, even though he didn't shoot well from the floor. If I look at the stats in game 1, Giannis was 9 of 25. That is horrendous. He shot 36%. 36. So even Giannis was affected by that Boston defense. They were able to make him a way less efficient basketball player. And you have to credit Boston because Boston has a lot of great individual defenders and they have a lot of great defensive schemes. They were always showing Giannis multiple bodies, and they also have a lot of length. So he was bothered by it. But what did Giannis do apart from shooting 36% from the field and scoring 24 points? Giannis ended up getting you 13 rebounds in the game. 13 rebounds. And all of you know, you remember Kenny Smith. He said, all great defensive teams are teams that can rebound. Rebounding is the last line of your defense. So the guy went in there, got you 13 rebounds, 12 assists, 2 blocks, and 5 turnovers. It wasn't like as if they took Giannis out of the game, he was going to stop playing hard and he wouldn't be able to affect other facets of the game. No. Giannis says, okay, you're going to make me a less efficient player. I'm going to go out there and get 12 assists. I'm going to go out there and get 13 rebounds. I'm going to go out there and get you 2 blocks. So even though I'm not efficient from the floor, I'm doing a whole bunch of other things to make my teammates successful. Essentially, Giannis was still remaining aggressive, but it wasn't just Giannis. Because if you watch the game and you watch the highlights, there were some other Milwaukee Bucks that stepped up. Another one was Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis ended up finishing the game. He shot 50% from the field with 15 points, only 1 turnover, 1 steal, 1 assist, but 11 rebounds. If you look at Brook Lopez, although he only had 6 points, but he finished the game with 10. He finished the game with 10 rebounds, 4 offensive rebounds, and 3 blocks. Then you look at the player that probably played the best for them in terms of their offense and scoring was Drew Holiday, who was a hell of a two-way player who can play some hellacious defense. He ended up finishing the game with 25 points. He got 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, only 2 turnovers, and he ended up shooting 60% from the field. So the Milwaukee Bucks went into that game, a game without Chris Middleton, and was somehow able to come out with a win. Let me get to, thank you so much for this. Let me get to your comments here. Someone left a comment here. Let me read it. In Skip's mind, if you are the best, but not a closer, you're not great. Look at how he goes after LeBron, Giannis, Luka. Closers are important, but without great players, you lose. It's a bad argument. It's a good point to make. It's a good point to make. I'm not here to, it's a good point to make. Let me read the other comment. And thank you for that. Giannis was 9 of 25 of the field, but 3 to 4 of 4 of his misses were bunnies that actually usually makes. Defensively, he was a monster. He crashed the boards and was dishing dimes. He dominated the game anyway. Yes, he did. Thank you so much for that. Giannis, as I said, Giannis is not a one-dimensional player. Okay, he's not a one-dimensional guy. It's not like as if Giannis, the minute he stops making shots, all of a sudden he can't affect the game in any other way. If Giannis stops making shots, you can tell him, okay, you go be the best defensive player on the floor, and he can do that. He can do that. He's a defensive player of the year. People forget. They think, okay, Boston wasn't Marcus Smart just won a defensive player of the year. They forgot that the Milwaukee Bucks also have a defensive player of the year in Giannis Antetokounmpo. And don't be surprised that's one of the reasons Jason Tatum and these guys were affected. People don't factor this in. Bucks winning the boards in this series creates more opportunities. Exactly. If I go look at the box score right now, let me see the boards. Okay. They were tied in terms of offensive rebounds. The Bucks and the Boston Celtics with 10. But let's look at the overall rebounding. Boston, the Milwaukee Bucks ended up out rebounding them by 4, right? Boston is a great defensive rebounding team. There's no way you can be a great defensive team without being a great rebounding team. But so was the Milwaukee Bucks. And I want to tell you guys why. Okay, let me just read this other comment here. The Bucks have the best player and team in the league. I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm starting to have the MJ confidence. And listen, thank you so much for that. Listen, let me just deviate to his point. Thank you guys for being a part of this live. I see we have 958 people. Really appreciate that. We're very humbled. Thank you guys for taking out your time to spend it with us here. We greatly appreciate that. Please make sure you hit the likes so more people are notified. Listen, I'm going to get back to my notes. Let me just get to this comment that our viewer made here. Listen, some years ago, I think a lot of us could say, listen, we don't believe in Giannis. For whatever reason, to his point, you just get the sense, I'm not talking about Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. No, I'm not getting to that point yet. You just get the sense that Giannis is on his way to becoming one of the more reliable basketball players that you can actually count on, right? He's turning into one of these players where people start to say, you know what? I don't want to bet against Giannis. You hear a lot of people say that. I don't want to bet against LeBron. I wouldn't bet against Tom Brady. I wouldn't bet against so-and-so player. I think Giannis is slowly starting to turn into that, right? And I think if Giannis wins this championship, boy, the whole narrative is going to change. So thank you so much for that. Let me get back. Let me continue with the point that I was making. Again, for those of you guys that are coming in, make sure you follow us on Instagram. We pin that to the top. And if you also want to follow us on Twitter, let me just post that here. And I will pin that as well. Let me pin the Twitter to the top as well. Replace pin there. So you guys can also follow us there on Twitter. Did somebody else leave a comment? Okay, yeah. So I think I've gotten to everybody's. Okay, so let me get back to what I was saying. So the Bucks ended up winning the game in a decisive way, right? Now, the Celtics, they did make Giannis struggle, as I said before, but the guy was still able to dominate from other areas, and he still finished the game with a triple-double. Now, here's what's interesting. Giannis, or the Bucks, did all of this without the most skilled player ever. Think about this. Giannis just beat the Celtics in game 1 without Chris Middleton. Meanwhile, KD was playing with Kyrie, who is the most skilled player of all time, which I thought was silly. And they could barely get one game. So my question is, I wonder what the haters will say now. What is it going to be next? Let me get to this comment. Bucks in 6 and Warriors in 5, believe. Next season, you just wait. Westbrook will win MVP and break the all-time dub record. Russ is the GOAT. We shall see. We shall see. Let me tell you something. I'm going to be so curious tomorrow to hear what the Skip Baylesses of the world are going to say. Let me tell you what Skip Bayless is going to say tomorrow. Skip Bayless is going to find every single reason to give other players. He's either going to give all the other Milwaukee Bucks credit, or he's going to blame it on the fact that Jason Tatum and these other guys played poorly, and that's the reason why Giannis was able to win. Basically going to imply that the Bucks got lucky. I don't think Skip Bayless is all of a sudden going to change his tune on Giannis Antetokounmpo. But what is happening is these dudes that keep hating on this dude are quickly running out of arguments. If Giannis and the Bucks beat the boss, first of all, it's already enough to give Giannis the best player in the world status for the simple fact that the Bucks were able to beat the Celtics at least once, doing something KD and Kyrie could not even do one time. That right there is enough to say, you know what? This guy is clearly better than the other guy because the other guy at least had his help in Kyrie. Giannis didn't have Chris Middleton, and he just went into Boston, and beat them on their home floor. So how can we still hold it? How can we still hold it out? Hold out on Giannis? How can we do it? Listen, I picked the Bucks going into this series to win this series in 6 or 7 games. That's what I predicted. I predicted them to win that, and guess what? I still feel very confident in that. The Bucks made it tough for the Celtics. Why? Because the Bucks also have a very big team. Go look at their roster. Look at their starting 5. Look at the dudes in that lineup. You have Giannis. You have Drew Holiday, minus Chris Middleton. You have Bobby Portis Jr. You have Brook. The Bucks are a big team. The advantage that the Nets had, the Celtics had over the Nets, they do not have that in terms of their size event. They don't have it in this series. If you watch those games, a lot of the live commentators are saying, man, the Nets, they cannot overcome this size of the Celtics. The Bucks do not have that issue. Giannis is damn near 7 feet tall. Damn near 7 feet tall. And I think that those advantages that those guys had is not going to work with this team. It is just not going to work. Boston is going to need to do something else. And just imagine if they had Chris Middleton. The Bucks right now, in my opinion, are the team that's probably going to represent the Eastern Conference. And let me tell you, I'm going to say it again. If Giannis somehow finds a way to get back to a finals and wins, it is over. Kawhi Leonard is my favorite player. The only time I'm going to mention Kawhi Leonard, my favorite player, and start talking about Kawhi Leonard and blah, 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 is when the Clippers make it into the playoffs and they head into the second or third round. That's when I'm going to start talking about Kawhi, because this ain't the time to talk about Kawhi. He's my favorite player. But Giannis is the one with the baton in his hand right now. I love Kawhi. I really do. But Giannis he's the dude right now. I'm giving it up to this dude. He's the dude right now. And for the people out there that are still talking about, oh, Giannis isn't this. Yeah, you notice Stephen A. Smith changed his tune. Stephen A. Smith. Excuse me. Even Stephen A. Smith. He changed his tune. Yeah, Kawhi Leonard is the man. But Kawhi has to come back. They need to get that Clippers team at least to the finals first. I can't talk about him right now because people are going to laugh me out of the room. They're going to be like, how can you be talking about Kawhi? Meanwhile, you have other players that are doing better. So that's the first thing. I want to quickly touch on the Grizzlies versus the Golden State Warriors series. Now, let me say this. The Golden State Warriors won that game by 1 point. But let me say this. I think one of the things that could possibly, I could be wrong, that can possibly come back to bite this Grizzlies team in the butt, Memphis Grizzlies team, if they're not careful, is being overconfident. You see, the Grizzlies right now, they're playing with house money. They have nothing to lose. They have no reputation to tarnish. This is all their first rodeo. So they're playing free. They're playing fun. They're talking about going up the chimney and all of these different things, which is fantastic. But with that Golden State Warriors team, while you're being exuberant and having all that energy, you got to be careful because the Golden State Warriors are still the Golden State Warriors. I expect them to win this series. I don't think that series goes beyond 5 games unless something catastrophic happens. I think as things are going right now, we're probably going to see the Bucks back in it. For some people say you're overlooking the Heat and all of this. This is giving you my gut feeling. I got a feeling that it may be the Bucks and the Warriors, but it's still premature. But for now, right now, let me tell you something. Giannis, these playoffs, has already done something that Kevin Durant was not able to do in 4 attempts. That alone proves to you that Giannis was able to overcome a hurdle that KD could. And to me, this is clearly why Giannis should be the best player. But for whatever reason, people hold back on it. Let me read through these comments. If you guys have any questions, drop them in now. Make sure you guys follow us on but let me just read this comment. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter. I'll pin it to the top. Skip is a disgusting person. When KD got swept, all he did was go at the Lakers for not making the playoffs. Show needs to be canceled. Russ is the code. Listen, I think Skip, to be fair to Skip has come out there and he's basically, renounced a lot of the stuff that he said. Who do I think is going to win MVP? I think it's going to be the Joker. I think it should be Giannis, but I think it's going to be the Joker. Listen, he's renounced his opinion on Kevin Durant, but in terms of him talking about the Lakers playoffs and all of these different things, I was recently listening to I got some more stuff I want to get into if you guys want to stick around with me. Got some more stuff I want to talk about. Thank you guys for being a part of this live. 1,200 people. It's truly shocking to see that many people in here. Really appreciate that. Very humbling. Anyway, listen, I think the reason why Skip and these guys talk about the Lakers is this. I was recently listening to an episode on the Skip Bayless show. And Skip Bayless basically says that he's the one that kind of picks these topics. I think Skip just believes that maybe there's proof to it, maybe the data supports it, that they have to talk about the Lakers every single day, right? If you notice on our channel, we're barely talking about the Lakers. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, right? We're barely talking about them. But for that show, I just think that it's something that they always have to do. Now, regarding the KD thing, the KD Giannis thing, I just think that he won't do it. Something else I've noticed. Speaking about, somebody wrote, Joe Rents put, Giannis will surpass LeBron. I've noticed something, and maybe some of you guys have noticed it too. Have y'all noticed that some people in the media have been saying, are we about to witness Giannis going on a LeBron James run? Did y'all notice that? Did y'all been noticing some people say that? We're about to witness Giannis going a LeBron James run. Listen, I think Giannis and LeBron are two totally different players. I think their careers have, thank you so much for that comment, Samuel. I think they're two different players and they have two different storylines. LeBron was in Cleveland, his hometown, the team that drafted him. He tried and tried and tried and tried to win, but he couldn't win. Then he moved to Miami. Then he went there. Giannis is on a totally different path. Giannis was drafted by the Bucks. He's still with the Bucks. Giannis is in the, I'm not comparing him to him. Let me just read this comment from Hamid Belfort. Ja Morant needs to focus on playing basketball and quit all the exercise show antics. The Warriors are not the T-Wolves. You didn't wake up and sleep. You don't want to wake up and sleep in bed. I agree with you, but that's youth, right? Again, they're playing for nothing. If the Memphis Grizzlies lose, what's everybody going to say? Oh, well, they did their best. What can you expect from them? They're young. Nobody's legacy is on the line. These guys are building their legacy so they have house money. If Ja Morant was in his 8th year in the playoffs and was doing all of that, people will be tearing him to pieces. So that's totally fine. Advice to them is just take it easy. Take it easy, right? This is the Golden State Warriors. They are the Golden State Warriors. Don't overlook them and don't trifle with them. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Giannis Antetokounmpo is the best player on the earth right now, but can he be the face of the NBA? Acho said, Acho. Emmanuel Acho said no. I'll get to that in a moment. Just to finish the other point that I was making with Giannis, LeBron. I think Giannis is in a totally different scenario. Why? Because Giannis is building his own dynasty, although the Milwaukee Bucks have won championships prior. Not like the Chicago Bulls, who Michael Jordan basically took an organization that was basically floundering and turned them into a 6-time champion. Not that. But Giannis is building his own legacy. So I think Giannis is on a totally different trajectory. And believe you me, Giannis will get more respect from fans, in my personal opinion, if he continues to win in a small market as the number one guy that didn't go out there to chase stars. People don't realize just how far that goes with fans. Fans really respect stars that stay in small markets or stars that stay with one team and try to win with them. They respect that a lot. I believe that's what Kawhi was trying to do when he went to the Clippers. He's like, wait a minute. I just finished winning a championship with the Toronto Raptors, an organization that had made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, made it to multiple, playoff appearances, but had never gotten over the hump, never been to the NBA Finals. I helped that team, a team that had never captured a championship, win a championship. Therefore, that one championship alone will go further than the San Antonio Spurs championship. And I think that's what we're talking about with Giannis. Okay. Ja Morant, yes. So I agree with that. Let me just read this one. For all the Giannis haters out there, and again, thank you so much for this. We appreciate that. We don't ask for anything on this channel, so all of this is just a blessing. So we appreciate that. Thank you guys for the support. We don't like asking people for anything because that's not why we're up here, but appreciate that. For all the Giannis haters out there, you have to keep that same energy of major players on opposing teams. You can't say, well, Celtics were on demand. Bucks are too. I don't think anybody's going to say that the Bucks are on demand. The Celtics are nobody's going to use that argument. Everybody is dealing with it. Yeah. So, yes, I think that was a question there. So, yes, so as I was saying before, let me not, Bron, not top 15 anymore. No. LeBron James is a top 10 a player. Great to see live stream and new different topic. Yeah, we talk about different things, man. When we cover the Lakers, we're covering the biggest story that we think is the most relevant. I'm not going to miss up a story that I think is interesting to cover the Orlando Magic just for being different sake, just for the sake of being different. Let me talk about the Magic. No, that makes no sense. Why? Because somebody's going to want to watch it anyway. You're going to produce something nobody wants to watch. Maybe 10 people want to see. No, that doesn't make. Do you all see? Okay, let me see let me just go through some of the comments here. What do you think Giannis has to accomplish to pass Shaq? I think Giannis simply has to win more championships, and continue to add to his legacy. A second championship is going to go a very long way. Giannis is not one of these guys that needs 5 championships to make it into some people's top fives. Why? Because of how he's winning. That's the fundamental difference. It's not what he's winning, it's how he's winning them. Right? That's the difference. Stephen Curry, although he has more championships than Giannis, if Giannis wins another championship, I don't see how you can rank Stephen Curry ahead of Giannis. How can you do it? How can you do it? The fact of the matter is, Stephen Curry has won those championships with a lot of talent besides him, and 2 of those 3 championships, he was on a super team. Show me the super team Giannis has been on. Where's the super team? Show it to me. Giannis has never been on a super team. Number one. So how can you have Stephen Curry ahead of him? Look at how Giannis impacts a game. Giannis can impact the game in way more ways than Stephen Curry. That's not even debatable. If Stephen Curry's shot is off, how dangerous is he? Now, yes, he's still a threat because you still think he's going to make his next shot. But Giannis can shoot 36% from the field, go out there and get you 15 rebounds and 9 assists and 4 blocks. Stephen Curry cannot do that. He can't. So the guy that impacts the game in more ways clearly is the best player. Giannis doesn't need to score. Giannis is one of these guys that can average 20 and 20 in a series and 6 or 7 with 3 blocks. How many people can do that? So to me, listen, if he gets his chance, he's already ahead of Stephen Curry. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, we can forget about that. Like, Steph is great, but he ain't better than Giannis. Like, let's just cut it out. Let me see. You talk about the needs to be talked about. It's always interesting. Okay, let me just go through some more questions here. More accolades. Yeah, more accolades. Do you believe Giannis could get into the GOAT conversation? We have to wait and see. Let me go through some more comments here. Do you see the alley? Yeah, the alley-oop to himself was just crazy. Yeah, I mean, what can you expect from this guy? Giannis already a top 10 player no matter what. Let me just go through some more comments. Braun Bailey, top 10. No, LeBron is a top 10 player. That's for sure, man. Top 5, top 10, however you want to have it, it's fine. I mean, you go through some more comments here. Padded a bunch of stats for y'all, box scores, watchers. Yeah, but he won. He won. That's the point. The guy won. This is what I'm talking about. Now I don't know if that guy's referring to the fact that Giannis padded the boxer, but he won. This is the fundamental difference between Giannis and Russell Westbrook is Russell Westbrook can go out there and get you a triple-double and lose by 20. Giannis can go out there and get you a triple-double and win a playoff game. This is the fundamental difference. Giannis' stats lead to wins. I'm not here to diss Russell Westbrook in any way, shape, or form, but it just is what it is. For Giannis haters out there, you have to keep the same energy. Okay, I responded to that. This is the point. So to me, listen, this guy right now is the best in the world, and I cannot wait to hear what people are going to say tomorrow. What excuse are you going to give KD? What's the excuse? What is the excuse? How can you say KD is better than Giannis at this point? How? For all of those skills, what did it get you? What did it get you? Nick Wright was standing up for Giannis in a major way. He's been one of the few people that's been on the Giannis bandwagon. I thought that Nick Wright was championing Giannis Antetokounmpo because he wanted to hate on KD, but maybe he really supports Giannis. So I'm very happy to see that. So I think I've answered everybody's question. Pretty jump shot building. KD is a better scorer. Giannis is more dominant. Okay, I think I've gotten to everybody here. So anyway, before we check out, make sure you guys follow us on on Instagram right here. Again, I just posted that there because I know a lot of people send us messages there. We also respond to some video replies. If we don't respond to your comment, we most likely will get to it. So make sure you follow us on Instagram and follow us on Twitter. Once again, man, I thank you guys for being a part of this live. It's a blessing. I hope I've answered everybody's question. If you have any more questions, you can just shoot them real quick. Why do you think Stephen A. Smith hates on Kyrie so much? I think that Stephen A. Smith, I could be wrong. I think the fundamental issue that he has with Kyrie, I could be wrong, by the way, is the fact that he believes that Kyrie Irving, I could be wrong, is somebody that doesn't like to work or looks for reasons to not go to work. That's what I heard. That's what I think. Why? Because that's what he's been saying for a long time now. He's basically been saying that one thing, right? So that's what I've heard him say. Now, some people could feel maybe saying this, maybe saying that, whatever. Now, for me, some people feel I hate Kyrie Irving about his what is it? His vaccine. As I said before, I don't care if I guarantee the media will diminish his competition if he wins another one. Yeah, I probably think so. As far as Kyrie, I think people think I care whether or not Kyrie gets the vaccine. Listen, I could care less. No one was more anti than me. No one. Ask Marco. But what happened? I needed to travel. I needed to move around and all of these different things. Trust you me. If you have to travel, it is like going through the headache of not having it. I was like, I cannot deal with this. I needed to move around. And I'm like, I'm not going to deal with all this stress. That's why I did it. But that was my personal decision. Does it make me better than Kyrie? Does it mean that the person that didn't get it is better than me? No. So when people say I could care less, what I didn't like is how he was being condescending to people, calling them puppets and peon. That wasn't for me. So I hope that answers that question. But I don't want to talk about him. Sold out. What did I sell out? I sold out what? It was my decision. What am I selling out? Sold out what? What did I sell out? What am I selling out? It's my decision. I'm a grown-ass man. I made my own decision. What do you mean I'm selling out? I mean, if you don't want to take it or take it, it's your business. Don't ask me about what am I selling out. Do you live in Italy? No, I don't. If you don't have an option saying no, then if you don't have an option selling cake, bro. Okay, Kyrie is Robert the next guy telling the truth. Yeah, I don't care. If somebody's telling me about, what if you have to work to travel? I'm gonna lose my money for what? So I look like I didn't. So come on, man, cut that out. What are we living in? What are we in high school? Your preview for the Heat versus Sixers. Yeah, appreciate that. 64,000. All of this is shocking, right? 64,000 people is incredible. We really appreciate that. I gotta actually sit back and look at that series. Hey, I got a new name for Jan. Okay, sellout is a word for weak whiner. Yeah, I don't understand. Anyway, read. Okay, so I think I've gotten to everybody's comment. I think I've answered everything that people want to hear. Okay, yeah. So once again, guys, thank you so much for this. Appreciate you guys being a part of this. And we'll definitely catch you guys on the next live. Have a fantastic Sunday, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow when we start producing content again. Thank you so much, and God bless, and you guys have a good one. All right. Peace. Peace.